Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 7-Minute Spotlight. I'm Steve Crawford, and this is where we discuss stories, ideas, and concepts to help us have a better life through encouragement and inspiration. And today's story is a personal story, getting wisdom from a dropout. And the dropout that we're going to talk about is my dad. Dropout of school is pretty much frowned on. You know, a lot of people have gone on to get their GEDs. I'm not judging anybody, but our culture is that you try to get through school. And my dad dropped out of school when he was 14 years old. But dad was born in 1916. So when he was 14, it was 1930. The stock market had crashed in 1929. The Depression was full on. And dad dropped out of school, had to go to work to help the family, sold newspapers as his first job. His dad, my grandpa, worked for the railroad, but because of the Depression, people weren't buying things, there weren't things to ship, so the trains weren't running, so he had limited income. And so dad and others did the same thing, found what work that they could. And dad was always, from being very young, was a big man. He was over 6 foot tall, close to 200 pounds. So he got a lot of laboring jobs in addition to the newspaper. By the time he was a little bit later as a teenager, maybe in 1932 to 34, somewhere in there, was involved with a project that they had at the time called the Civilian Conservation Corps. This was in South Dakota. And he was in the Black Hills helping build bridges, roads, and parks, things like that. And you got fed, you had a place to stay, a little bit of a stipend for living, but now the family wasn't paying for you, you were taking care of yourself. By 1935, my dad had joined the Teamsters Union, became a truck driver, spent 22 years driving, and then went into management, first as a terminal manager, and then president of the company. All of that with a 9th grade education. How does that happen? Because learning is a lifelong process. Dad loved to read, and he asked questions, and he learned how things worked. He figured things out. And he passed on that love of reading to me. I really enjoy reading, and there's just a lot of the stuff that I do today is because something that I read maybe recently, maybe it was years ago, but it had an impact on my life. But Dad's influence on me was that you can learn. You don't stop learning just because you're not in school. But one of the things that Dad shared with me, and this is going to show the wisdom that he had. Something happened when I was probably about 13 years old. Can't even remember what it was. But Dad said, look, I want reasons, not excuses. And again, I can't remember what brought that conversation about, but that part stuck with me. There's a difference between a reason and an excuse. A reason, looked some of this up recently, a reason is based in responsibility. We can explain what's going on. I'm late because a plane wasn't able to fly because there was bad weather. That's an explanation. It's reason, and it's based in responsibility. An excuse is a way to escape blame. We come, oh, this happened and that happened and all that. And we're not really giving an answer. We're just looking for ways to not be blamed. I think of the Blues Brothers movie where Jake is in the tunnel and he's confronted by his ex-fiance, and he gives all these excuses. Or there was locusts, a flood, I ran out of gas, I had a flat tire. It's not my fault. And that seems to be very popular today. We want to come up with reasons that something is not our fault, but really all we need to do is give a sensible, reasonable explanation. And with that, you don't get a hall pass to you just say, well, I kind of didn't like that or whatever. We all have responsibilities. We need to take them on. We need to fulfill what we say that we're going to do. One of the things that Dad did for me when I was about 14, he came to me and had explained that, and he did it very tenderly and gently, but I wasn't much of an athlete. I was interested in sports, but just not that good. But I enjoy music, and I became good at that. And he came to me and said, Steve, music is something that you can enjoy your entire life. Even if you make it big in sports, your career is going to be over when you're in your 30s or 40s. You get old, you can't do it anymore. And that was some great wisdom that he shared with me, because I wasn't going to make it in sports, but I do enjoy music. Some of you know that I play the piano, and I've played in, a garage band, and I played music professionally for 18 months. Still have been involved in some music projects, either at church or setting in with a band or whatever. And so music is a passion, but Dad helped nudge me in that direction, again, based on his wisdom. So, what are the things that we can learn from that and learn from my dad, a man with a ninth grade education? That we can be our best if we focus on what we do. If we are true to our word, are responsible for our actions, and we do the things that we should be pursuing and not be distracted by things that we're not necessarily good at, then we have a better chance for success. One story that we hear is that, well, if you set your mind to it, you can do anything. That is somewhat good advice. The thing is that you've got to be gifted in that area. I'm only 5'8". I was never going to make it as a basketball player, certainly not going on further into life. I don't have the size for it. So I'm capable of many things and I can pursue that which I want to pursue, but we have to be realistic. There's some things we're just not cut out for. So what does that mean for us today? Our challenge is let's take inventory of what we do well and let's do that. But then we're able to give reasons for it. And when we're giving those reasons, we know that we're being responsible because we've made decisions for our lives, not for somebody else, and not for somebody else making them for us. That's my goal for today. That's my challenge for you. We're always interested in hearing from you. You can get a hold of us at steve@stevecrawford411.com. Good to see you again. See you on the next one. God bless.